All right, we're back with HSC Podcast weekly movie review. And we always like to honor actors and when we have, people pass away, we try to, honor them with the movie reviews. And with Robert Redford's an interesting one because he's obviously was before us, but still had movies that we could watch as we were growing up and even as we got older, he's just been around for a long time. He's an interesting, he has an interesting movie set when you think about it, like the different types of movies he's been in. He does have pretty good range as an actor. I think he always has. I watched him a lot as a kid. I don't know if you did, but I had the parents who loved those types of movies. So I've always, been a fan. I'm a little disappointed in us that we didn't do The Natural because that legitimately is one of my favorite movies of his and just a great movie in general. So I'm just going to shout out that movie, even though that's not on our weekly review.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I watch The Natural every year before baseball season, so that's kind of hard because I've seen it probably I don't know how many
Right.
times.
A million
Well, then
times.
shout out to that also that had Michael Madsen in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a couple guy obviously we did already, but another, one passing away, which is it's always tough. Well, let's jump into the three movies we got here, and obviously we don't have Wes here, but his movie was The Great Gatsby, and this is the original, or not the original, but the older version of this with Robert Redford. Obviously, a lot of people are probably more familiar with the Leo version because that was 2013. But it's a rendition of a book, obviously. But I really, oh, first, what do you think of the movie? I mean, we just talked about it. I'll let you get it off your
Well,
chest and then I'll
I
give
will
my,
say this. It's still better than the Leo one. I cannot stand
yeah.
Baz Luhrmann. So at least this is a little better, but it's still pretty slow. For me, it's like Robert Redford's great. Sam Waterston is great. I can't really stand Mia Farrow very much.
Right.
Bruce Dern is great. It's just, it's just a sad story. I mean, it's basically this dude Gatsby's this rich guy who gets screwed over by a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, well, because it's also it's into that because he's not necessarily he made his money, right? He became rich, and if he falls into that rich lifestyle, but how the rich people that he's dealing with when he's dealing with Daisy and um, I don't remember the other dude's name.
Tom Buchanan,
Tom
or you're
Buchanan, right?
talking to
Yeah,
Nick
Bruce
Carraway.
Bruce Stern. Yeah, no, Bruce Stern. Tom
Yeah, so
Buchanan.
Tom.
But
Daisy and Tom.
they're the rich people that really come from money, right? And so they it's a story about them that they live this different life, that they're above the law in some sense, when at the end, obviously how the movie ends and the book ends, but he's not that type of guy, which is really what the movie's about, right? He's holding on to that love forever and he's done anything to try to regain that love and bought the house across the bay, so he could look out the on his deck, the whole all the time over to her. And so it's kind of that story of like it's a love story of like lost love.
But Daisy is such a horrible human being, though.
Right. And so is Tom Buchanan though, right? They're
Yes.
both horrible human beings. And that's kind of I think that's the story, kind of the part of the storyline is that these people that come from that type of money and they don't have morals, they don't care who they step on, and everything is about them, and they have the silver spoon. What I really liked about this version and is Sam Waterston playing Nick Carraway.
Yeah.
I wasn't as much a fan of Toby,
Toby
it's Toby
Maguire.
Maguire, right?
Yeah.
Playing it in the newer one. But I really, really actually thought he did a great job, not just in his mannerisms, in because the story is about Nick Carraway forming this friendship with Gatsby, but he really sells it in that he really cares about this guy who's misunderstood or you know has lost this love and he's been trying to find it. So that was I think one of the highlights of the film is Sam
Yes.
Waterston's role, and Scott Wilson does a great job too. You know, that's a tough role to play, and he really sells that of the almost like a mentally unstable um, Wilson. I guess his name's Wilson too.
Yeah. Well,
Kind
I
of
mean,
funny,
kind of get, you got the rich person trying to take advantage of it, screwing him over.
right? Well, and he's the one, obviously, that Tom Buchanan is the one that is the cause of the whole thing because ultimately he was the one, having the affair with George Wilson's wife, which caused the whole problem and caused them to have their problem in their marriage. And then she runs out and gets ran over by what we know is
Daisy.
Daisy driving, and Gatsby gets blamed for it, right?
Yep.
So it is slow, right? I like it's funny because Francis Ford Coppola did the screenplay, and so it's well written, so
Yeah.
that.
It's well written, well acted. It's just a lot slower speed than I mean, I think Gatsby's a hard one, but yeah, it's still better than I cannot stand the Baz Luhrmann one.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, you have to like this type of movie, right? Like you do have to enjoy the older style of um dialogue, and it helps if you enjoy the book and things like that too. So I thought it's well done. I liked Robert Redford. They did a good job acting, but you're right. You have to be into this type of movie. So next, I'll jump into my movie and then we'll go to yours. And so so I chose an older movie too, right? But this one's not older in the same sense that the Gatsby is because it's not the slow older style writing. It's set back in 1936, and this is The Sting, and this has also got Paul Newman in it with Robert Redford, who I think do a great job together. But the concept of the movie, it's great. It's really fun. You've got them playing grifters and they're putting on a big scam, which is called The Sting. And it's all about cons, and conning money. The acting's not top notch in it, but the story is, right? And the breakdown of the story, I actually love how they do the film and they put it in parts and they tell you what part of the sting that they're doing as they go. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie because you feel like you're involved in it as they show here's this part, here's this part, here's this part, and you get more invested into the sting as it gets closer and closer. So I love that part of it. But I think I also really love the job that Robert Shaw does as Doyle. he plays it perfectly, right? You're like he just nails that part, and you want him by the end of the movie. You're like, man, I can't wait until they get over on this guy. I love the acting and the camaraderie between Newman and Redford, but I also like how Newman plays that. Yeah, I'm a con artist, but I'm a smart con artist, and I try to play by the rules of being a con artist. Where Robert Redford does a good job of playing like the angry, his friend got killed, and it's almost more about revenge than the con, and he plays that role really well. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's an older movie. It was done in '73, and so it's not great in the cinematography and but the plot's good. I like the FBI guys. It's fun to watch the different twists as they play out. So overall, for me, I've seen this movie a lot, especially when I was a kid. To watch it again and hadn't seen it in quite a few years, it was a fun watch for me.
Yeah, this was one like you said that I have seen a lot as a kid. And it's interesting because one I haven't seen a lot of is Butch Cassidy
Right,
and the Sundance Kid, which is funny because they're both Paul Newman and Robert Redford, both by the same director.
right.
But this one, The Sting won Best Picture. Redford was up for Best Actor. Yeah. So, and here's another nice little fact. The friend that died, Luther, was played by Robert Earl Jones, James Earl Jones' dad.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Which will tie into our next movie after this.
Right.
But it's funny to me because I was watching it and it's been I'd seen it a million times, but I knew remember most of it, and then I'm like, what was the deal with this Loretta girl? And then you're like, oh yeah, she's the sass. But I like the acting of like Ray Walston and Harold Gould as Kid Twist, as like the other con people that were helping out.
Right.
And then yes, like you said, Robert Shaw did a great job. And then yes, well even Charles Durning,
Oh yeah,
man,
playing
such a
the
jerk.
out of control cop.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a nice one. And then they still like they're telling you what's going on, but then they also left you with a surprise.
Right, right. You still gotta have the twist.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but I always enjoy like anything with Paul Newman or Robert Redford. So
yeah. Yeah, they both did a really good job. I actually, even though Paul Newman, got most of the accolade for it, I liked I mean, Redford got most of the accolades. I like Newman's role in it a little bit better. I thought he did a great job. And so when you watch this movie, it's great to watch. Just the kind of the other cool thing about the movie is the way they set things up and the way they go through some of these cons. It's really kind of fun to watch. Like how they set up like the whole off track thing, right? They just like rent a place and they're like just like invent a an off track betting horse racing parlor. Like it's just that's just so cool. It's so unique. You just don't see that a lot in movies these days, or even back then. It was very unique. So it's a real fun movie to watch, and so I'm glad that I did go with that one. So the movie's The Sting. Check it out. All right, and probably the better of the three, your movie here. So you went with Sneakers, which got a lot of people in it. But yeah, go ahead and tell us that.
well, like yeah, with sneakers, Yeah, that came out in 92, so right when we were like in high school. And I don't know how many times I'd seen sneakers. Even like my wife, she's 5 years younger, but she loves sneakers. You have Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, you know, David Strathairn, River Phoenix. I
Ben
think,
Kingsley.
yeah. Huh?
Ben Kingsley.
Yes, Ben Kingsley, Timothy Busfield, Mary McDonald, and of course, at the end, you get James Earl Jones
Right.
to tie into the Sting. But it's a story of two college hackers in the 70s hacking into stuff. One goes off to get pizza, the other one gets arrested by the FBI and sent to jail. So Robert Redford plays the one that got away. And then years later, he's got an assumed a different name and no one knows who he is. And he's running a firm that goes in and checks cybersecurity. And this is kind of cool for 1992. They're like be talking about cybersecurity and all that stuff. And then you come across Ben Kingsley, who was his friend, and now he's this corporation, and there's tons of like espionage and like a cipher that can hack into anything in the US, and how they um Ben Kingsley's character basically fools around with Robert Redford because he's mad. He felt
Right.
his best friend betrayed him. And it's just kind of, and then for me, the very end with James Earl Jones is probably the icing on the top where they're like, well, I want this.
Right. Yeah,
The goodwill towards men.
when you talk about like the especially for in 92, which I get it, there this stuff was still around, but when they're talking the NSA stuff, and the Russian black box and the cipher, and but then showing like the older at the beginning when they're showing back in college and they're hacking into the financials and like saying they're like giving money away, donating money out of the presidents into other personal bank accounts and giving that money away. That it's really a cool storyline, and it's a great way to like open the hackers book, right? And to get the story started. And then when they flow into when they first start when they're doing their company and they're breaking in as being paid to do it, like that's such a unique idea and just like a great way to foreshadow what's to come in the movie. And so I like how they did that, and I love Dan Aykroyd's role as well. I think he does a really
I think he plays himself pretty much.
right, right. Like so, I love that about him. Um, it's funny because his nickname's Mother, but then Whistler, they all play such good roles in that. But I really enjoy like the return basically of Ben Kingsley, and I thought that was you knew it was coming, but it's still like the way they did it, and especially when it gets near the end and they're in the final parts of it when it's like, are they going to kill each other? What's going to happen? It gives it a little bit of it puts you on the edge a little bit, like you're wondering like how's this going to finish, and so they all did a really great job, um, particularly Robert Redford because he kind of changes throughout the movie a little bit, but back and forth in a way where you just see his emotions going back, being pulled in all these different directions because of the situation. Great movie though. Like, I mean, I hadn't seen that. I've probably only seen it a few times ever. So watching again and not seeing it probably. 20 years at least. It
I
was
mean, this movie you got
real fun.
Redford and Sidney Poitier in it. Man.
Yeah, and Portier's so good though. Like he's always been such a great actor, but he also plays that like ex CIA role like so perfectly.
He's like, I want a, t a trip to Europe.
I like when they're first deciding if they're gonna do it or not, and like they're all like, "Oh, we're all in," and he's just like, "Well, that's great."
Yeah. Because he's like the voice of reason.
Right. They're all like, "Yeah, we want money," and he's just like, "Oh, this is great."
I love the part where Whistler is driving.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's so funny because you're like, how's he gonna do this? And then you'd think that it would have been a little more damage to the car though when he ran into the wall, but I guess it's an old van, right? They made them better back then.
Yeah, on the brakes and five, four, three, boom.
Oh man, yeah. So
And then the ultimate Riz in River Phoenix. He gets one wish from the NSA, and he's like trying to ask this girl's number.
yeah, got a phone number of an attractor of the NSA agent. Oh man. Then the Winnebago.
Peace on earth and goodwill towards men.
I mean, it really is. It keeps you interested in the movie the whole time, which is really what you want out of a movie, right?
Right.
And so there's lots of times where movies start fast or they end good, but this movie throughout is you just want to keep watching because of how they progress the plot, and I think that's what makes this a really good film. So great pick there. Uh, Robert Redford overall. I mean, if you look at his breakdown of movies, he's got some really good ones in there. I mean, you mentioned Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid earlier. We talked about The Natural at the beginning. I'll tell you, I've seen Out of Africa a bunch, and I enjoyed that. And I because I do like those older movies.
Hey, bridge too far.
But yeah, Bridge Too Far. I mean, you want to talk about a slow movie? Like you think Gatsby's slow, but The Bridge Too Far seems like it's gonna go on forever.
Well, I think it's got to be 4 hours long, isn't it?
Like but it's got so many people in it though. Like when you look at that movie, look at the
No, only
cast,
three.
the cast in that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but that's right up our. That's like slow for us, but it's not for us.
No,
It's
yeah, not for me, but yeah, if somebody that's not interested in war movies, good acting, and World War II,
yeah. When I tried to get Caitlin to watch it, it didn't go well.
yeah, I can't imagine. But those are all things that I mean, number one, right? I love World War II, anything, right? And now you're going to put all these great older actors in it, and and then it's war, right? So it's already right up my alley. But Indecent Proposal,
Yeah, I forgot he was in that. I
right?
was like, oh yeah, he's the rich dude.
Yep. So there's
Um,
a lot of good ones, and they're Downhill Racer. Like a lot of people haven't seen that. That was Gene Hackman.
well, and
And
then for me also, Captain America Winter Soldier. He was such a great villain in that.
yeah, and that shows like what I was talking about before and kind of mentioned is that the length of term as for him as an actor, right? Because Winter Soldier is in 2014.
Yeah,
He his first like real good big movies were in the 60s.
yeah.
That's 60 years almost, right? that is a long time, to be in, relevant movies for that long.
Yeah, and then another one I wanted to see, but then I couldn't find it anywhere, so I didn't pick it, was Spy Game
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
with Brad Pitt and him.
Right, right. A lot of, man, yeah, as you look through this, you're like, geez. And some of them weren't as big a roles, but he was in just so many different roles in movies. Yeah, it's just, everybody comes to that time, and he lived a long time, and there's a lot of great movies. And
Yeah, he was the like if you talk though, it was the 70s for him because you had All the President's Men, 3 Days of the Condor, Great
mhm.
Waldo Pepper, and The Candidate, and then we like this one's the one that cracks me up because I'm like, oh my gosh. Jeremiah Johnson. Did you hear people didn't realize that he was the meme for the Jeremiah Johnson meme?
Oh, really?
They were like, "Oh, well, I thought that was Zach Galifianakis." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's Robert Redford from Jeremiah Johnson."
Right. But that's most people aren't going to know that, like you can't expect you gotta you gotta be a little more into movies.
Yeah. I don't even remember Jeremiah Johnson, but when I've seen the meme, I'm like, "Oh, that's Robert Redford from Jeremiah Johnson."
Right.
Just no, it's what he.
Well, I was real close to doing uh 3 Days of the Condor because I have not. I mean, I think I've probably maybe seen that twice. And
Yeah, that was yeah. There was someone to do, but then I'm like, I couldn't find it
right.
online.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's real hard when you get into the older movies too.
Yeah, because now it's on Netflix. Dang it! Guess I'll be watching The Great Waldo Pepper.
Yeah. But it was really good, to remember that, but yeah, I mean, the guy was 89, you know, great movies, lived great, good life, long life. And you just get to that time where these actors go, but it's great to go back, watch some older movies, good movies, and just remember. And I do, like I said, some of them aren't as exciting as most people would want, but I enjoy a well-written movie.
I think that's what's missing is if Wes was here, he'd be the one to back this up completely. Like more people need to watch the movies from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's because it's not about flashy special effects. It's more about acting and writing.
Yeah, and it was a big contrast to the 80s. Like when you look at because there's so many good 80s movies, but the style is so different
Yeah.
between the 70s and the 80s. But they're both equally as good in their own rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Candidate also. Like I kind of want to go back and watch that. So overall, great, great movies. Any comments on that? Let us know. Just hit us down there in the comments. Any actors or movies you'd like to see us do. Happy to hear some comments on that, and we'll throw those into our next list of movie reviews. So appreciate you guys listening. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. We do get quite a few views on the movie reviews, so happy to hear some feedback on that. And yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.